Rumors spreading round United Texas town about the shack outside the game. You know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you're gonna go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice girls. I'm racing.
It's been 2 weeks since we last saw the CorvetteParts.net Super Late Model Tour, but tonight they make their return to the track. Welcome to Lucama, North Carolina, and most small towns in North Carolina, the biggest events are the local stock car racing nights. It's round 3 of the CorvetteParts.net Super Late Model Tour at Southern National Motorsports Park, live on PBR Broadcasting. And thank you for joining us here tonight for the WeeklyRacer.com Winter Classic at Southern National for round 3 of the CorvetteParts.net Super Late Model Tour. As always, I'm Stephen Parks, and joined in the booth with me tonight is not Jerry Nadeau, but it's Mark Nadeau. How you doing, Mark?
Oh, doing real good tonight, Steve. Looking forward to a really great race tonight.
Now, Mark, last time we were on, we saw him at Lanier. We saw Brennan Queen take a step forward in the chase. and he scored his back-to-back victory. With week 1, he got the win, and then Lanier, he gets the win. After 2 weeks off, these guys have had plenty of time to practice and try to dethrone Queen. Mark, who do you think's got a shot tonight, and who's your dark horse?
You know, it's going to be a really tough call. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, we were looking at Connor Hall really making a show. First week out, he was very strong. I had that late race black flag that put him behind, giving the victory to Brendan. And then, of course, Brendan came back the following week to do it again. And I'd really like to see Connor Hall get up there and make a show tonight. I know he's a strong car. I wouldn't count out Brian Neff or even Justin Kern because he's been up in that area as well. So we got some good cars up there. Don't count out Stephen Burnett either. He's a very fast driver.
Well, Mark, let's take a look at tonight's track real quick. Southern National Motorsports Park is a 0.4 mile track. The corners tonight will be banked at 17 degrees, while the front stretch is at 7 degrees. And to give you a kind of an idea on the banking in the corners will be banked the same amount as Talladega on the Tri-Oval. So really, there is not a lot of banking out there.
Yeah, it's going to make it for some interesting races in the corner. That Tri-Oval at Talladega has got a nice little bank to it. Putting that into the corners, allowing these cars to grab some of that corner with the high banks, it's going to give them a good run off the corner. So it should make some interesting racing side by side in the corner.
And as always, here at the Eastern Supercar Series for the CorvetteParts.net Super Late Model Tour, they are not allowed to take tires, and no extra fuel allowed to be added to the cars. So, like always, it comes down to conserving those tires so you have enough to make it to the end, but not conserving so much that you're going to drop back.
Yeah, a lot of things that a lot of drivers have to take into consideration is that fuel burn off. As the fuels burn off, it's going to put a lot more weight on the front tires and make them wear a lot quicker. So the idea is to try to manage those front tires as best you can, so later on in the race you'll have something to work with in the turns.
All right, and we'll do a rundown really quick of the points championship. We do not have the graphic this week, but we'll still run down through them really quick. Brendan Queen walked away with his back-to-back wins in round 2. And it was in pretty dominating fashion, really. And he now leads the pack with 108 points. Moving up from 4th to 2nd is Craig Kenny after Kenny records his second straight top 5 finish at Lanier. Craig is 11 points back in the standings. Justin Kern breaks into the top 5 for the first time this season. After a 4th place finish at Lanier, Kern now sits 12 points back from Queen. John Pierce jumps 4 spots to break his way into the top 5 for the first time this season. Pierce would record a 3rd place finish at Lanier and is now 13 points back. Colby Vance is the only driver to fall in our current top 5 due to a 9th place finish. And after falling 2 spots, Colby Vance is currently tied with Sean Pierce for 4th, 13 points back. And the drivers who fell out of the top 5 this week are Stephen Burnett, who currently sits 6th, and Tim Knott, who is currently showing 9th. And hey, Mark, I don't know about you, but when I want to check in on what's going on in the Mid-Atlantic racing scene, I always check out theweeklyracer.com, where you can catch all the highlights of the stars at the short tracks, catch up with the legends, modifieds, late model tours, and everything else going on in the Mid-Atlantic region. You can catch it all at theweeklyracer.com. And Mark, I was reading a story on theweeklyracer.com about this track. Southern National held their Thanksgiving Classic, and the winner was none other than Matt McCall, crew chief for Jamie McMurray. It's always nice to see a NASCAR crew chief out there at the short tracks, and not only running, but winning the race.
Yeah, the nice thing about having that on your side as a driver is you've got some experience to put into your car, knowing how to set that car up and get it ready for a long run at a race like that. And it's very good to have that kind of expertise working on your side.
All right, well, we're winding down. Actually, they are going to switch it right now. We went a little bit early there on the qualifying, but we're going to go ahead and go trackside for tonight's National Anthem. We'll be back after the National Anthem and a word from our sponsors.
famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey, I'm NASCAR driver Matt DiBenedetto. As a Corvette owner and enthusiast, I know it's hard to find a place that has everything that I need. That's why I love Keen Parts, a retailer in Corvette parts and accessories. With thousands of items in inventory, they have parts from vintage to the latest models. If you can't find what you need on their extensive website, call and speak to one of their knowledgeable sales reps. I know every time I call, someone's there, ready to help me find exactly what I need. I know they'll do the same for you. Keen Parts, or Corvette parts, are all they do.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
All right, and we are back, and we are sitting trackside right now while we wait for the qualifying to wrap up. And, you know, we were talking about it earlier with the amount of banking in the corners tonight. Do you think we're going to see those guys trying to maybe make those passes on the high side, or maybe sticking their cars middle groove to try to keep those tires from running out?
No, that's a good call. I really see him running that preferred line down there on the bottom for a long time throughout this race. It's 125 laps, so I really don't see him moving up to that high side anytime early. I just think it's going to eat the tires up too quick running up there, to be honest with you. That low line is going to be the way to go. They might, within a few laps, try to get out there and put some rubber down on that outside groove, but I just don't see it playing out too early in the race.
All right, and it looks like we have wrapped up qualifying. Things are running along pretty quickly here for us here tonight, but we'll take a look at tonight's starting grid once they start gridding up, and I believe they are doing so. So, Mark, you want to start us off with the top five?
Yeah, once again, we got Brandon Queen on the pole with a 13.98, followed by Stephen Burnett right there behind him in second. Connor Hall taking up the third. Kobe Vance next to him in fourth. Jim Knott rounds out the top five.
And the rest of your top 10 will be Sean Pierce starting sixth. Brian Neff will start seventh tonight. Steve Music will start in eighth. Justin Kern starting in ninth, and Brian Hacker in 10th.
And we got Charlie Needham in 11th. Next to him with Justin Call behind him. Behind Charlie will be Mickey Kern, and then we got Josh Reeves rounding out the field.
All right, and as always, Travis Wall is your race director on the track. So if we see anybody drop into the pits, we'll make sure to try to get a word in with the race director, Travis Wall, to see what happened there. And should be a great race overall. 2 laps to go around under pace. And we'll be ready to rock here at the weeklyracer.com Winter Classic 125 at Southern National. We are still waiting for that pace car to get going. There are a couple drivers have not gridded yet. I believe we are down to 3, still waiting to grid. But let's get back to the dark horse we kind of talked about early on in this broadcast. Who are you looking at tonight to possibly maybe break through and get the job done tonight?
I'm really looking at Steve Burnett to take home a victory tonight. He's a strong contender. He was strong last week. Had a few hiccups there, but he's been running up front. I really think he's got a strong car tonight, and I think he has a chance of breaking through and getting his first victory.
Yeah, Burnett's had his chances definitely along the way, and tonight could be the night for him. I'm going to look at the 77 of Connor Hall. We've seen him run pretty consistently the last couple weeks. Did run into a little bit of trouble near the end of the race at Lanier, but I think he's finally going to maybe have a shot to not only knock off Queen, but get a win.
Yeah, it's a good chance. I mean, Connor Hall's a strong driver. He knows his oval tracks pretty well. He does a pretty good job on the bank tracks as well. So I think he could be a player in that. Another one we don't want to count out that's been running up front is Tim Knott. He's done a pretty good job of running in the top 5. So there's always a good chance that he might make it up there and create a little havoc for Brendan Queen.
Yeah, we had a lot of drivers that kind of ran into trouble late in that race last week, but it looks like we are getting ready to go. Pace car lights are out. And there does go the pace car. They will hold them up, and it looks like they are off. Brendan Queen out with a great jump, and he's going to pull the 77 of Connor Hall along with him and leave Stephen Burnett out there hanging. A great jump early by these guys. As we saw the 77, I believe they are teammates, and it does look like Stephen Burnett is going to cycle back into 4th, giving up 3rd to Colby Vance, who had a great finish last week.
We got a car around already in turn number 3.
And we're looking to see who it is. I believe it was Steven Music. It does look like. We'll see if we can get a playback of what happened there. Oh, and it looks like there was contact. Music on the outside makes contact with the 66 of Charlie Needham on the inside, and 66 goes into the outside wall, and Steve Music goes to the inside wall, as we already have our first caution of the night. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, it didn't take long. It's that type of track, with that bank corner. You got to be real careful coming back down into that lower groove. Steve Burnett falling back where he did. I just think he's kind of playing it safe. He's not going to waste his tires too early in the race.
All right, and while we have a little bit of time here, I was messaged by Stephen Burnett, the league admin owner of the Eastern Supercar Series. Following drivers are actually real-life late model and or super late model drivers. Brendan Queen, I don't believe Johnson is here tonight. Sean Pierce is a late model driver, and RS Senator, who I don't believe is here as well. Those guys are late model driver, or real life racers, so it makes sense why Brendan Queen's up front.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Connor Hall did as well as he did in the first race of this against Brendan Queen. Like I said, that black flag that cost him the victory and allowed Brendan to take it away. I don't think anybody could have had anything for Connor Hall had he not gotten that black flag.
Yeah, I know he's definitely looking to break through. He had that dominating race and just fell apart late for him in the first round, but we're getting ready to go back green flag racing already. Quick cautions here. We're on lap 7 of 125 here tonight. The pace car getting ready to dip off. There it goes. They hit the line, and Brendan Queen is off, and Connor Hall really got a decent jump on Queen, able to stick with him, files right in below. Now he's going to go to the bottom line. Can he take it from him? And he will take the lead this time around, as he does beat him to the line, so he will get the first lead change of the night and take over on the point.
Yeah, and you see that top line, that middle line's already getting a little bit of rubber laid down, so it's a possibility that could start becoming a groove here shortly in this race. I think Brendan Queen's going to stay where he's at and just try to stay with Connor Hall as long as he can.
And, Connor Hall made an interesting move there. And you got to wonder if we're going to see that a lot tonight. You saw him kind of enter high into one, kind of stick that middle groove, and as soon as Queen went to the wall, he ducked under him and took the inside line going into 3.
Yeah, he did a real good job planning that attack. Made a perfect timing on it. Was able to take it away going into the next turn.
So Hall and Queen still battling out other battles around the track. Colby Vance and Stephen Burnett right behind them, battling for 3rd. Back to 5th. Tim Knott sitting pretty. Looks like he's got a pretty good distance between 4th and 6th for him. Sean Pierce back there behind Tim Knott. Brian Hacker back in 7th. Jesse Call in 8th. Justin Kern running in 9th. Mickey Kern running in 23rd. He's got a battle with Charlie Needham, who's got a little bit of damage, but he is going to get that inside line on him. And it doesn't look like he's going to clear it, though. So, looks like the 23 of Mickey Kern will remain in 10th. Charlie Needham in 11th. Steven Music in 12th. And riding at your field right now is Brian Neff, as he's sitting at the back of the field. Not sure what's going on with him, but it doesn't look like he's got a ton of damage on that car. But we'll head back out front to Connor Hall.
Yeah, Connor Hall's catching up to the tail end of that field real quick with Brian Neff. I hope Brian Neff sees him coming and gives him a little bit of room, because he is running really slow on the track compared to the rest of the cars.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of a, we'll call it a spotter stand view of the track here right now, and you see just how close that Connor Hall is getting to the 60 of Brian Neff. And really how close that front, about 6 cars, is getting to the rest of the pack.
And I'm kind of amazed that Brendan Queen has allowed Connor to get such a good little jump on him like that. But again, it could be the fact that he's just saving his tires. Again, it is 125 laps, and you're going to want some of that rubber for later on in the race.
Yeah, we saw Queen at, I'm already forgetting what their first track was. Oh, New Smyrna. We saw him sit back in 3rd and 4th for the longest time before finally making that jump. Now, that was on a Connor Hall black flag that ruined, or gave it to him, really. So he's got a chance. He's trying to get to that inside line right now.
Yeah, I think he's getting ready to set Connor Hall up here in the next couple laps.
We're waiting to see when the 03 is going to jump down there. We're seeing him kind of dive down there and try to get it from him, but 77 doing a nice job of protecting that inside line.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm looking at the aerial view right now, and the rubber's getting laid down real good on that lower groove. So the longer it gets rubbered in down there, the better it's going to be for Connor Hall to be holding that low line against Brendan McQueen.
As you can see, looks like Brian Neff is starting to catch up to Mickey Kern as they're battling right now in front of the leaders, and there's not much distance between them right now.
I'm kind of wondering if Brian Neff wasn't just letting his tires come in a little bit before he went at it too hard, and now he's starting to pass the tail end there and make his way back toward some more cars up front there.
As we're looking about 3 cars in danger of getting lapped, 26 laps into this race, and we have been green flagged since that first caution here tonight. So great racing put on by these guys as they are getting ready to go around the 23 of Mickey Kern. It looks like Kern will go high to get out of the way of these guys and let them race it out.
I'll tell you, this is a perfect opportunity for Brendan too. He's going to get up there and really ride on Connor just like he's doing right now. He's right up on that back bumper going into the corners. He's running it a little bit hard.
Yeah, in the top 4, it looks like they ran into a little bit of an issue there. Able to get through there with no problems, though, as they had the 66 of Charlie Needham down on the apron almost, and Mickey Kern up high, so they had to split them and kind of take that middle line and get through there.
Yeah, Brian Neff's going to be the next car to go a lap down, and Connor's catching him real quick. So it's not going to be long before he gets by Brian. And the next car in line on him is going to be Steve Music.
Well, this is kind of the nature of short track racing. We're going to see a lot of guys going a lap down, maybe 2 laps down, as really Brian Neff has been battling back here, doing everything he can to stay on that lead lap, get around all the slower cars, and at least set himself up for the lucky dog if that comes into play. Oh, and The lap car of Steven Music into the 03 of Brendan Queen gave him a little bit of damage. Not sure how much that car has, but Brendan Queen able to hold on to it. And I don't think anybody else was involved in that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out who the car is on pit road. Is that Charlie Needham? Looks like he's taking it to the garage.
As I say, it looks like Needham may have lost it before the caution came out. I think that was near around the time that, watching this replay right now, Steven Music hitting the inside wall, and great driving by all these guys, able to stay away from him. He was on that inside line on the entry into 3 when he hit that wall and ended up flipping. But yeah, Steven Music and Charlie Needham, the guys we saw involved in that first caution, they're both sitting on pit road right now.
Yeah, I noticed Charlie slowing down there going into turn 3, and I believe it was turn 3. It could have been turn 2 or turn 1. He was just real slow at the bottom of the track, and I just didn't know what was going on with him. And then you called out the accident, so I'm not sure if that actually had a play in Steve Music's incident there, but yeah, he was definitely running slow on the track.
And you know, the biggest winner in that whole caution, Brian Neff, who goes from almost being lapped to caught up to the field, and we're gonna start to wonder, is he gonna turn it on now? Because we saw him really sit back early on in this race. And, you know, watching Brian through the last year or so in different leagues and whatnot, we've seen that from him. He starts at the back, he kind of just cruises for a little bit, lets everybody get all their wrecking out of the way, and then that's when he decides to turn it on and become competitive.
Absolutely. And, you know, here at this kind of a track, you know, with these cars not being able to pit for tires or fuel, they're going to run a hard compound tire, so it's real important to get that heat cycle in before you start going hard at it. Otherwise, you're going to burn the tires up too quick. They're not going to get the grip that you need coming off the corners, and you're going to start getting a lot loose. And here we go again at the restart.
Yep, they hit that restart line, and Connor Hall jumps out in front of the 03 of Brendan Queen, and we're going to start to see, does that damage come into play now for the 03, as Burnett's back there in 4th now. He's trying to get down. He will get down behind Colby Vance, but Connor Hall back out front. He is trying to get this thing done tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Queen wants to let him get away as far as this time.
And we're going to look around the field. Really, everybody pretty evenly spaced out, as it looks like we only have 2.5 separating now the top 10. Everybody in a line. This is a pretty good look here. We'll go to the sky view to show you kind of, it is a one straight line, really. No breaks through. It's about evenly spread, really.
I'm trying to look at that last car behind there. I'm thinking that's
Mickey Kern.
Mickey Kern. He's falling back quite a bit there. I don't know if he's got a little bit of damage or not, or if he's just taking his time getting those tires seated up.
Yeah, it looked like earlier before the caution that Mickey was starting to struggle a little bit, and it may just be the inexperience of short track racing. I know personally. Oh, go ahead.
Got another car down on the shoulder of the corner going in turn 4. He's coming into the pits, it looks like.
Yeah, Brian Hacker, not sure what happened to him. He is beat up pretty badly, as the only other car that I see really beat up is Brian Neff, but I don't see anybody else out there that has a ton of damage on their car. Not sure what happened to Brian. Maybe we can check in later to see what happened to him.
Yeah, he's doing a good job keeping that car going, though. I mean, he's running right there with those 3 cars and doesn't seem to be losing any ground. In fact, it's looking like he wants to make some passes.
We're looking at Brendan Queen right now. He is getting a battle put on by not only Colby Vance, but Stephen Burnett, as they are hooked up right now. Top 4 really all there. Stephen Burnett's now going to drop back. Looks like he got a little bit loose coming off the corner. But really, these guys are doing a great job of, I guess, running single file. No real super aggression as the race goes on. I expect we'll see a little bit more of it, though, as we are seeing the 03 of Brendan Queen definitely kind of dip it in there and try to get underneath the 77. It's not quite happening, though.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for Stephen Burnett to start putting the heat on a little bit. We're 49 laps, almost 50 laps into this thing. We're about a little, not quite halfway through. So I'm kind of looking for him to start putting on the heat and putting himself in a position.
And currently we do have 10 cars on the track. Brian Hacker has taken his car behind the wall. Josh Reeves did not start tonight. Steven Music and Charlie Needham still sitting on pit road, so they're getting some damage fixed up, hoping to come out and maybe gain a spot or two. But the short track action, it's running down pretty quick. As saw a little beating and banging there on that backstretch, as Brendan Queen looks like he is trying everything he can. We're seeing him try to maybe hold it off the corner to get underneath it. He's going to hit the wall, as that 03 is now getting pretty beat up on that right side.
Yeah, I think Colby Vance was putting the pressure on him pretty hard, and Queen just didn't want to take it, so he was putting a little bit more effort in getting away from him. And I think he just put a little bit too much into it and tapped that wall coming off.
All right, well, we are getting near the halfway point. And for those guys watching at home, the trivia question tonight is, when was Southern National Motorsports Park added to iRacing? Mark, you got any clue?
You know, I could always cheat on that one, so I'm not even going to bother to try to answer, because I want to see if somebody out there will. I have a tendency to go to Google and find out when that happens, so Google is my best friend.
You know, honestly, this is one of the newer tracks, too, on iRacing, to give kind of a hint to everybody at home. It's not the newest. It's not the newest by quite some time, but definitely a newer track, and it was really a huge surprise when it did come out onto iRacing, as we are seeing Stephen Burnett now get a shot at the inside line. He is not going to get it from Colby Vance, but yeah, it's still one of those tracks that a lot of people don't have just because it is newer, and I guess really a lot of the short track leagues like to run it because it is kind of a staple. But
yeah, and Connor Hall there, he just put Mickey Kern down a lap, so that's another car out of the running, a lap down.
And we are seeing Brendan Queen go to the inside, going to bump the 77 of Connor Hall out of the way.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to take much longer before he got a little antsy, because he's got Colby Vance running right up on his rear end, and he feels that pressure. But, you know, look at Connor now. He's not going to take it. He's going on the inside of Stephen Burnett.
Oh!
Stephen Burnett.
And that will bring out the caution. Doesn't look like anybody else hit the 5 of Burnett. But we did hear throughout the week, or throughout the last 2 weeks, really, the talk about maybe cleaning some of this racing up. And, you know, it is short track racing, so you are going to have some bumps and whatnot, but definitely trying to keep the cool when you're not even halfway through the race, really. So,
yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at that, I think Connor got a little beside himself, because he got past the way he did, and he wanted to get back up there and run for it. And I think he just made a little early call going in the corner. Got up underneath Steven a little bit. Steven trying to keep that pressure on him, and he just kind of pushed him out of the way. And I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but, you know, in the heat of short track racing, that's what happens.
yep. And your Keen Parts lucky dog will be the 23 of Mickey Kern, who will get back on the lead lap. And we did see, I believe it was Brian Neff, and yeah, Burnett's going to go in and get that damage, some of that damage fixed. Doesn't have a lot of time to sit in the pits, but did look like Brian Neff also came down to get a little bit of damage fixed. Not sure, it really, we've seen Queen really race pretty well out here without much, or with all the damage he has. Do you think damage really plays a huge part in this race here tonight?
I don't believe it does. I think short track racing, there's not a whole lot of downforce really relied on. It's more in horsepower and being able to get that car through the corner as best you can. Too much damage, obviously, it's going to play a part, but definitely the overheating of the engine if you get too much front end damage. So you got to be careful of that nose and not put too much damage on it. I'm not sure if they're running a real lot of tape on these tracks, just because, again, I don't think the downforce plays a big part in it. Queen made a gutsy move there, getting up underneath Connor. He is a short track driver. He runs modified, so he's well aware on how to get these cars into the corner and how to use that nose to nudge them out of the way if he needs to.
All right, well, the pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go back. Green flag racing here, coming to lap 68, and the green flag's out quick. Was the pace car even off the track? We saw that a couple weeks ago, and Colby Vance jumps at the opportunity. He has got the outside line right now on the 03 of Brendan Queen. Don't know if he'll be able to hold it out there, but he is doing a pretty good job putting the pressure on, and he will come around. They lead his second lap. He led that first lap on the restart after the quick green.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Steve Burnett's making a case for himself. He's trying to get in between those two cars right there to see if he can get back up there with Connor and see if he can't get a little redemption off that.
And we'll go back to Burnett. He is sitting in 6th. He's underneath the 01 of Jesse Call, and it doesn't look like it quite cleared him. There, he did clear him, so he is moving his way back up near the top 5 as he is looking to get his way back into the top 5 in points. Colby Vance, one of those drivers we talked about possibly being a dark horse. He is out in front right now, leading, I believe, his first laps of the season.
Oh, that was a close call for Connor. Him and
Sean Pierce.
Sean Pierce. Yeah, got together a little bit there. It looked like.
And it does look like Tim Knott, Burnett, and the whole pack really behind him. Burnett's going to get to that inside line, and he did he force the 56 up the track? Not sure. It didn't look like he did because Tim Knott cleared him.
Yeah, Tim Knott was putting a little bit of block there on Steve Burnett too, and I don't think Steve liked it because he came back on him in turn 3 and gave him a little bump to let him know that was not a good move, try to block me going into turn 1.
Well, that caution really bunched things up. We're getting back to racing as it's really racy all around the track as Colby Vance still leading out in front of Brendan Queen. And I may be wrong here, but I do believe Colby Vance is a teammate of Brendan Queen. And with Queen with back-to-back wins, you got to wonder, does maybe he give one to the teammate?
You know, it's always a possibility. When you're running for a championship, you've already got a good lead. It's not a bad idea to give your teammate a little bit of, pat on the back. But at the same time, I mean, they're out at a pretty good clip right now in front of Connor Hall and Steve Burnett. And, we're over halfway into this race. Anything can happen at this point. They get back up there to give a little heat on Queen. I don't think Queen's going to be nice. He's going to go after Colby just as hard as he would anybody else.
Yeah, we are seeing that huge gap now between Colby Vance and Connor Hall. 2.8 seconds separate him, and then a second ahead of Connor, you have Sean Pierce sitting in 3rd. So this is going to be interesting to see how things play out because Connor's got a lot of, fast guys that have been late in this race. And even Burnett, who's trying to get up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was going to say, we were talking earlier about the real-life drivers that run modifieds. You notice our 2nd and 3rd place cars, those are the real-life drivers right there. And that's showing on the track right now.
Watching Connor Hall here, who's running 4th. As Sean Pierce has really kept a pretty good distance between himself and first and second. And looking back here, was he in the top 5 in points? Yes, he was actually in 4th, tied with Colby Vance. So he wouldn't pass Colby Vance. Maybe Justin Kern, as Justin Kern's running in 8th. Craig Kenny was in 2nd. And did Craig Kenny even run this week? I don't think he did. So Sean Pierce in 3rd is actually a pretty big points move. And Colby Vance in 1st is obviously a huge points move.
Yeah, Colby Vance is definitely driving that car very well tonight. He's doing a fantastic job out there in front of Queen. Then you got Sean Pierce there in third place. He's doing a great job holding his own there. How long he'll stay in that position, if he moves up or not, will really depend on how hard these two front cars push each other. Because they're coming up on the back marker right now of Brian Hacker.
And we do have a caution. Jesse Call, Justin Kern involved in it. And I was just about to say Stephen Burnett made his way into the top. I'll look to make sure there's no extra damage that goes on here. Take a look back really quick to see what happened there, as they were battling it out for quite a while back here. And it looks like Kern snapped loose, able to hook onto it. So he was good there. And then Brian Neff right behind him. And it looks like the 01 maybe didn't realize Kern was down there, went to go dive to the inside and made contact. They're both moving though, so I expect them to both be still on the track. And Mickey Kern gets another Keen Parts lucky dog, gets the wave around.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. I said Brian Hacker, and I meant Mickey Kern, because Brian Hacker is currently 45 laps down and off the track.
So back to what I was talking about. We saw Tim, not only Tim Knott, but Stephen Burnett move up. Connor Hall moves back to 6th. And do you think maybe he burned him up?
You know, it's a pretty good chance he did, or either that or he got a little bit of damage on that car, and it's just not working as well as it did. Might have done a little suspension damage on that car. Could have a tire rubbing. It's real hard to say. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I know he was putting a little bit of pressure there on Steve Burnett for a little bit there, but then just couldn't stay with it too much. So we'll just have to see how it plays out in closing laps here. We got 35 laps to go. So.
Yep, pace car lights are not out. Let's take a look at the top 5 really quick and where they started. Colby Vance, who started 4th, currently running up front. Brendan Queen, who started on the pole tonight, is running in 2nd. Sean Pierce comes from 6th up to 3rd. Tim Knott from 5th to 4th. And Burnett from the front row in 2nd back to 5th. So really, Burnett's having a great battle getting back through the field. He will start the inside line. We'll see if maybe he can make that work and pick up a couple spots. Can Brendan Queen do the same thing that Colby Vance did? We'll see pretty quickly here as the pace car lights are out. And I start to wonder, was it the early green flag that time around? As looks like Colby Vance will hold them back. There is the green. And that was another quick one. That's going to give it to Brendan Queen. Not sure what is going on with the flag system here. Justin Kern's not moving. He is sitting on the track. No caution is out. What is going to happen here? They're coming to turn 1, and there is a car on the track. There is the caution. As it looks like everybody's going to get around Justin Kern. I believe Jesse Call was the other car involved. Take a look back here really quick. The 01 just turns Justin Kern. The 01 of Jesse Call. And I'm wondering, look here, watching Jesse Call really quick. And yes, he was removed by the track, the race director. So Travis Wald made the call and removes Jesse Call, as it kind of looked like, was it a revenge shot or maybe an intentional hit to Jesse Call there after Kern and Call got involved in the previous caution.
Yeah, and the fact that he just sat there on the track and forced the caution to come out, that wasn't too good either. That's probably one of the main reasons why he got pulled off the track. The rule of thumb is if you get put out, car off the track, call tow truck, get it away so that you can get the race going and keep it going under green flag conditions. And that yellow came out only when the lead cars came around and he was still sitting there.
Oh, that was the 2 of Justin Kern that was sitting down there. It was the 01 of Jesse Call who pretty much dumped the 2 of Justin Kern before the corner, really, on the start, on the front stretch, drove right into the back of him and upset the car and caused him to spin, go right down into the wall. And then after the wreck had happened, and I believe after the caution had came out, we saw Jesse Carr's car disappear from the track. as it looks like he was forcibly removed from the race and taken behind the wall.
Yes, sir. And Brian Neff just came on the pit road. I think the only thing he can possibly get done, can't do tires and fuel, so he's probably getting a little bit of that damage fixed.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Is really right now we only show 7 cars on the track. Add in Brian Neff, he is coming back on the track. We'll have 8 cars on the track as we're getting really close to 20 to go.
Now, is this going to be a good thing for Brendan Queen? He took the lead, so is he going to keep the outside line?
Well, he did. He's taking the outside line on this restart, so we are seeing that outside line play out pretty well. Colby Vance is going to have to lay back for Brendan Queen to get the... There is the green flag. We'll see if... did the 44 get black flag? He did not. So it will be your top 3 right now. Brendan Queen, Colby Vance, and Burnett's in the top 3 with Sean Pierce in 4th. He doesn't have that inside line, though, as it looks like Sean Pierce got upset, maybe got a little bit of a bump, and he will drop back into 4th, giving the place up to Stephen Burnett in 3rd.
Yeah, I kind of figured it wouldn't take long for Stephen Burnett to work his way back up into that top 3, and I'm not sure if he has anything for these top 2 cars, but he's running with them, and hopefully he can get back up there and try to give Queen a little bit of run for his money.
And the battle I am watching right now is between Sean Pierce and Connor Hall. Connor Hall has bumped he's going to turn him now.
He's gonna go around.
The Connor Hall turns the 21. We saw him about 4 or 5 corners, and he was bumping him around, getting him out of the way, and he finally turns the 21.
Yeah, he ran in pretty hard coming off that corner. But that's short track racing. That's what happens. You know, you get these cars on these short tracks, and you get a little bit of temper into them, and the next thing you know, you got pumping and running.
Yeah, it was bumping and running for about 4 or 5 laps almost. Really, it was since the green came out. We saw Sean Pierce battling with Burnett, and we saw Pierce's car get upset a little bit. I think it was the 77 maybe giving a bump to him to get him out of the way, and that really set up Burnett into 3rd. Now, this is going to be interesting because, you know, we talked about, you know, the retaliation and whatnot earlier. Burnett and Connor Hall were involved in a wreck where Connor Hall got sent to the back and then was battling back and actually took out Burnett.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these short track races, like I said, it brings a lot of heat with it. The cars get real close together. They're running hard. It's tight racing. You're going to have some bumpers banging and beat, and tempers are going to start to flare, and that's when the retaliation happens. And we got to really be careful with that, because not only are you beating up your car, you're causing yourself a problem on the track. The officials are going to see it. They're going to send you to the back of the pack, and that's where you're going to start. So it's real important. Try to mind your temper, keep your car together, and get around them best you can without doing too much beating and bagging in that retaliation mode, because it can play havoc on you in the end.
Yeah, we did see Brian Neff go down pit road, getting a little bit of more damage fixed up. 19 laps remaining. Time is kind of running out, but he is sitting in 8th. We do only have 8 cars on the track, but I mean, he could be a possibility to gain a couple more spots. If there's a big wreck, he could potentially be in the top 5.
Yeah, not a bad play on his part. Get that damage fixed, try to make it a little bit quicker. And the interesting part here is where Steve Burnett's going to start. He's going to start right behind Colby Vance. So it'd be interesting if he can get past Colby Vance in the next corner and possibly give Queen a run for the money. And here we go. Oh, he got short checked.
We may see Brendan Queen. Oh, and the 77's getting turned.
Oh, that's a bad deal right there.
And I was about to say we may see Queen get black flagged. He jumped that start. Take a look, see if we can go back to that restart, because Queen was not at the line before that green came out, and that's what really checked up the field in that wreck. And look at this. We were just talking about this. Brian Neff is 1 spot away, and he will actually, no, he is going to the pits, as it looked like he may be moving up into the top 5.
Yeah, good call on his part. He's doing a great job back there, minding his car, getting the damage fixed on it, so he has something to play with at the end of this race. Where laps are running down, we're 111 laps into a 125 lap race, and you're right. That jump start, if that is the case, exactly what brought on that incident going into turn one and coming out of turn two. The unfortunate part is that both Burnett and Connor Hall paid the price for it. They're now back 3 spots. Burnett's back 3 spots from where he was, and Connor's back 4.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we're going to get a response here from the race official, Travis Wall. We did shoot him a message to see maybe if we are going to have a black flag that's going to have to be served here or what's going on. Because, yeah, that jump start really led to everything. Burnett able to hold on to a 5th. Really, Burnett didn't get too much damage in that. I think the car just got upset when we saw Connor Hall go around. As it doesn't look like we lost really anybody on the track, though.
No, he still got the same field we're running with here. The one that's benefiting from it all, though, is Brian Neff. He's able to get all that damage repaired on his car with all these cautions, and that's just going to do real good for him. Let him gain some positions.
All right, well, the pace car lights are out. We'll see what goes on with the 03 this time, as we are being told he was the leader. I guess they have changed the restart zones, but see what happens here, as he's going to almost hold him and make Colby Vance check up. But we are going to race this thing out. Tim Knott now into 3rd. Sean Pierce in 4th. Stephen Burnett in 5th. Connor Hall right behind Stephen Burnett.
Yeah, good run for Tom Knott, working his way up through the field and getting up into that top 3. Stephen Burnett's going to try to follow him, see if he can get past Sean Pierce.
Sean Pierce goes off the wall. A caution is out once again. Sean Pierce made contact with that outside wall. It looks like the motor is blown on that car, and it is smoking around the track. So he went into the wall and then straight into Burnett. Burnett able to hold on to it and hold on to that 4th position. But we are having cautions aplenty here tonight.
Yeah, that's the breed of short track racing. Cautions breed cautions. Unfortunately, there's quite a few cars out from the 12-car field that we started with. We're down to 7 cars, 8 cars. 8 will be going in the pits because he's obviously got a blown motor. So we got 7 cars that are officially running.
All right, and while we have this time, we'll go over the trivia question once again. When was Southern National Motorsports Park added to iRacing? It was December of 2015, so really in the world of iRacing, it is still a pretty new track, but it's been out for a while now, and it seems like a lot of guys have figured out how to race this thing.
You know, when you were asking me that question, if I knew the answer, I was guessing 2015, but I could have never given you a month. I guess I was right in my head anyways.
You know, if you want to be technical, it was season 1 of 2016 when it came out.
Okay, so you got to throw that at me now.
And also, while we are under caution, we can go through this really quick. We want to remind everyone at home to hit that subscribe button, because next week we are back with the KeenParts.com 125 at South Boston Speedway. Definitely a change-up of the style of track. We've seen kind of these egg-shaped style ovals, and we're now going to see kind of a tighter, sharp-cornered style oval, and it's going to be interesting to see how these guys race that out. As the pace car lights have gone out, we do have 7 drivers remaining on the track, and look at that, Brian Neff in 5th.
Yeah, you getting that damage fix was going to be a good idea for him. It's playing out good for him. Let's see.
Green flag is out, and we're back to racing here, as Brendan Queen will, of course, take over the points. Burnett's going to get hung out to dry, as he's got the 56 of Tim Knott on the inside.
I'll tell you who's putting a little bit of heat on his front field, man. That's Brian Neff. He's trying to get up there and get himself top 5.
Yeah, Brian Neff, who really sat at the back of the field for most of this race. 3 laps to go. Brian Neff's going to go off the wall. He is going to keep it together, though. Coming to the 2 to go now for Brendan Queen. As really it looks like everybody's pretty content with where they are. Brian Neff does move into the top 5. He gets underneath the 77 of Connor Hall, who's going to fall back to 7th. 1 lap to go. The white flag is out for Brendan Queen as he now comes around turn 3 and 4. And pretty easily, Brendan Queen will take your win here tonight.
I'm not sure what happened with Connor Hall. He just dropped horsepower immediately.
So Brendan Queen comes away your winner. We'll be back right after this as Brendan Queen does walk away with the weekly Racer.com Winter Classic, a Southern National. And we'll get to the interviews when we come back here in just a second.
Hey, I'm NASCAR driver Matt DiBenedetto. As a Corvette owner and enthusiast, I know it's hard to find a place that has everything that I need. That's why I love Keen Parts, a retailer in Corvette parts and accessories. With thousands of items in inventory, they have parts from vintage to the latest models. If you can't find what you need on their extensive website, call and speak to one of their knowledgeable sales reps. I know every time I call, someone's there, ready to help me find exactly what I need. I know they'll do the same for you. Keen Parts, or Corvette parts, are all they do.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Well, we have the winner of this race tonight, Mr. Brendan Queen, again, 3 times in a row, man. How do you feel?
It's great. This one is probably one that I didn't have the car to win and pull it off. It makes this win kind of above the others, I feel like. Really didn't think we were going to get back there to win that thing, and it just worked out.
Now, one of the questions we had going during the broadcast is back you had your teammate Kobe Vance in front of you, and we were wondering how that would have played out if you had pressure from behind. My comment was that I think if the pressure came from behind, Mr. Queen was going to do whatever he had to do to get around Mr. Vance, regardless of the teammate situation. Other than that, you were going to give him as much as you could until you got toward the end of the race. Is that about the right call?
That's right on it. Me and Kobe definitely race each other hard, and we're teammates, but we both want to win a race. We're not going to go out there and just wreck each other, but he's not going to let me win. I'm not going to let him win. So there's a time to race and there's a time not to. When it gets down to it, we're both going to go for it. To be honest with you, if you'd have told me in a million years that he would have beat me on the outside on that restart, I'd have said you're crazy there. Just I've never seen outside work like that at Kinley, but it showed me that when I lined up second to him, I was kind of questioning why he didn't take the top, and I was able to rocket past him, so I knew where I needed to be on the restarts. And it was crazy because you don't think aero is a big deal at short tracks. You see it on TV at the big tracks, but when I was out front, I was good. I could roll to center and I could get drive off. So as soon as Colby got by me, I was tight off all the way to the wall, and he was actually telling me the same thing. As soon as I got back by him, my stuff was fine and he was tight off. So it's crazy how that little bit of air could change it.
Yeah, we were talking about that outside line at the beginning of the broadcast. whether it was going to come into play or not. And when we saw Colby use that outside line to get around you, we were like, oh yeah, Brendan just learned something right there. And if he gets that chance again, he's definitely going to be taking the outside line from here on out. And that's exactly what you did. You used that outside line to get around him every time on the restarts, and it played out real good for you. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. And we got racing with Connor there real early, and I let him go and try to just save my stuff. And I honestly felt like I raced too hard with him. And I normally am pretty good about doing that, not burning my stuff up. But I knew I was in trouble when Colby was second after we got by Connor. I knew Colby had been saving. And I'm just very thankful it worked out. Thank y'all for broadcasting it. Thank you to Eastern Super Series, Corvette Parts for sponsoring it, the Weekly Racer, Stephen Burnett and Justin Kern and all them for making this possible. Travis Wall for being our race director, and thanks Stephen for painting up my car with all my sponsors on it and everything, and thank the man above, and hope y'all have a good night.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys putting on a good show for us tonight. You have a great night, and congratulations once again.
Thank you, buddy. We're always looking forward to it.
All right, and Mark, we do have Colby Vance, and I believe you would like to interview him as well.
All right, we got second place in this race. Mr. Colby Vance put on a great show tonight. You had the lead there for a little while, but you had pressure from your teammate. How does it look out there for you?
Yeah, we had a pretty good run. We started fourth, I think, and we were just riding majority of the race. And when Brendan finally got behind Connor, and I was able to take advantage of that and get in the second. And there at the end, when I was leading, I should have took the tops. What I should have done. I tried being smart about it, thinking I just got a good restart on him, and he might have missed a shift or something. But something to live and learn. But I'll just take another second, and hopefully maybe next week finally get the first win of the year.
Well, I think what you did is you taught him a valuable lesson on that one restart where you had the top line and you ended up taking the lead from him. And I think it woke him up and said, oh, okay, I see the top line works real well. He really didn't expect it. And being the fact that you're teammates, I know you guys want to run hard and both want to win the race, but at the same time, you got to understand that anything you show your teammate, he's going to learn from you. And he definitely learned that top line works just as well on the restarts. He ended up taking it and getting that lead back from you and got a win off you. You ran a good race tonight. You were patient, saved your equipment to where you needed it there in the race, and it played out good for you. Too bad you didn't get the win, but you came home second, and that'll help you in the points as well. So great race for you tonight, Colby.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to y'all two for broadcasting it, and Stephen Burnett, Travis Wall for directing it, and Corvette Parts, Weekly Racer, and all the guys that made it possible for this league. It's definitely a fun league.
All right, well, congrats on your second place finish tonight. We hope to talk to you out at South Boston.
Thank you.
All right, and Mark, I do have third place Tim Knott here now. Tim, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Third place.
Yeah, it's we've seen you kind of running consistently, kind of in that fifth to, really fourth to sixth range. Tonight you had the breakthrough, and it came at the right time for you. How was your car out there tonight?
It was a little tight, I thought, but for the most part, it was good, real good.
Now, next week you guys kind of changed it up. You go to a different style track, South Boston. You think you'll be able to kind of keep up your consistency that we've seen in the past couple weeks?
Yeah, I think I'm fine there. I like the faster tracks.
All right. Well, we see you started fifth tonight. You dropped all the way back to seventh, but you do come away with your highest place here tonight, third. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, just got to thank all my sponsors and, of course, the Weekly Racer for putting these on, and all you guys at Keen Parts. All the sponsors, really. Turn 4 Racing. Everybody does a great job. It's a fun race.
All right. Well, congrats on your third place finish, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week at South Boston.
We'll see you there, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Mark. Well, let's take a look at tonight's results if you want to start us out.
I'm going to have to hand this off to you for the rundown.
All right. Well, Brendan Queen does come away with your winner here tonight. Colby Vance will finish second. Tim Knott in third. Stephen Burnett fourth. And look at that. Brian Neff will finish fifth here tonight. Going through the rest of the field, Mickey Kern comes away with a sixth place finish. Connor Hall will finish seventh tonight. Sean Pierce in eighth. Justin Kern finishes ninth. Jesse Call will finish 10th. Brian Hacker will finish 11th. Stephen Music will finish 12th. And rounding out your field was Charlie Needham in 13th. And really, overall, it was a great race out there tonight. Mark, we did have a lot of cautions, but you know what? It's short track racing. Stuff's going to happen. And like we said, you know, we're in North Carolina. It's, you know, the home of really stock car racing, any kind of racing. These local short tracks, this is what you see. So we really saw a real life representation of what, you know, a true night race at a local short track is like.
Right. Now, I got to tell you, I'm a NASCAR fan. I love NASCAR. I love watching NASCAR. And when they first came out with the stage racing, I was completely against it. I thought, you know, this is not going to be a good thing for the viewers. But the time I spent watching it and looking at it and watching short track racing, I think that's what NASCAR was trying to do. Is they were trying to bring back that Saturday night short track version of racing where you got a limited amount of time to get to the front of the field and make your name. And that's one thing I like about short track racing, Saturday night short track racing, is that's what you get. You got a short amount of time to get to the front and get your name onto the roster of the championship. And Brendan Queen is doing a great job at doing that. 3 races in a row, he's managed to get himself up front. One was kind of handed to him. I mean, he ran his race to get there. But due to a black flag, he managed to get that victory. And then last week, and then again this week, he's putting on a really good show. He's being consistent. And when you want to win a championship, that's exactly what it takes, is consistency.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, I'd like to thank you, Mark Nadeau, for being up in the booth with us tonight. Always makes it a even better show. You know, having somebody to talk with during the race makes things that much better. Thank you to everyone at home for watching, and make sure to subscribe to Parks Brothers Racing for your weekly Eastern Super Series broadcast. Next week, you can catch us right here at South Boston for the KeenParts.com 125. And Mark, next week, these guys finally get away from the egg-shaped ovals and go to a pretty tough track with tight corners and fast straights. It's kind of a drag race off each and every corner.
Yeah, Boston's not a real wide track either. So you got to be real careful coming off the corners. Side-by-side racing is going to cause a lot of door damage. So you better be having your setup on your A game and bring a really good car and be ready to race.
Definitely. And with that, from all of us here at PBR Broadcasting, stay safe, and we'll see you on the track.
Rumors spreading round United Texas town about the shack outside the game. And you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you're gonna go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice girls. I'm racing.